Hi guys, I'm Kasha. Welcome to the channel and to our coffee time today. So today I have for you a movie review, and as you can see by the title, I'm going to talk to you about Joker.
It's coffee time.
So I know this video is coming up really late, but listen to me. I wanted to go to the premiere week of the movie, but then I promised a friend that I would go with him and watch it, and then we kept postponing it because issues, and then I got sick, and I had to go to Holland, and then I was like, you know what, I just have to go and watch it alone, it's fine. And so because of all of that, I watched it pretty late, and that is why also my review is coming up a little bit late, but I hope you still enjoy it, and this is going to be a spoiler-free review. Joker is a 2019 psychological thriller directed by Todd Phillips, and it is based on the DC Comics character Joker, and it's kind of an origin story of this villain, and in this case Joker is played by Joaquin Phoenix, and it is based on Arthur Fleck, who later on will name himself as Joker, and how he is not able to really fit in society. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, because I have not read all the comics, so I don't have all the receipts for this, but I believe that in the comics we never really got a background story, like an origin story from the Joker, so it was kind of open to interpretation. And I think that villains are so intriguing as characters, and I absolutely loved that he got this movie, and it was so different from any other superhero movie that you have seen. Now, there is people that love this movie and people that think it's too violent, so the opinions are a little bit divided when it comes to the critics, but it is such a masterpiece. It is a wonderful portrayal of mental illness and what a society can do to an individual that is having trouble dealing with an illness and having also issues to fit into society. And I do not think this movie was too violent at all. It has become the highest grossing movie when it comes to A-rated movies, so it has broken a lot of records, and I am so happy because I do believe that this movie is wonderful and it deserves every praise, and I do hope that Joaquin gets the Oscar for this because his acting in this movie, it's out of this world. So our story takes us to the 1980s to Gotham City, and at the beginning of the movie we are introduced to this character called Arthur Fleck, and we see him while he's getting ready for one of his jobs. He works in this very crappy agency where he gets these jobs to dress up as a clown, to help promote some stores, to help, you know, cheer up the children at hospitals, birthday parties, things like that. And you can already see from the very beginning that he's kind of a loner, because in that room his colleagues are talking, but he's just in his own mind listening to the radio, listening to them chattering on the background. But you can already see that he's kind of like this loner guy, and it is because he has some trouble dealing with reality and with people in the real world because of his mental illness, and he doesn't really understand certain things about society. And if you see the whole transition of the character throughout the movie, the way that Joaquin slowly progresses with the mental illness, it is stunning. So after this opening scene, we also learn that he lives with his mom and they really depend on this job for paying for this crappy apartment, and that laugh that he has is actually part of his disorder that causes him to laugh at inappropriate times and not when everybody would laugh. So I thought that was really clever as well, and we follow him as he slowly goes from Arthur Fleck to Joker and how he became one of the worst villains in Gotham City. And like I said, the transition that Joaquin shows is amazing. The cast was fantastic. I absolutely loved all different characters, his mom, everybody was on point. But basically the whole movie is being carried by Joaquin. And it is a 2-hour long movie that does not feel that long at all. And you are so immersed into his world. And it's just so wonderful. Like, his acting is insane. And we have here a problem because I absolutely love Heath Ledger as the Joker. He's my favorite Joker. And I'm having now trouble deciding between Joaquin and Heath Ledger because both Jokers are amazing as their own, even though the one from Joaquin is a little bit different. It feels more real, it feels more raw, and it feels more, you know, fleshed out because we got to see his whole background story. So things that I love about the movie, well, first of all, I'm already a little bit biased because I've always loved the character of Joker. I grew up knowing of Batman. It's one of the first superheroes that I ever knew, you know, about. And so Joker was always present in my life, and I've always loved the character of Joker, and how evil and disturbing he actually is in his head. And so I already went liking the main character in a way. But obviously this movie was fantastic, and the exploration of how somebody is being kind of made into a villain because of society, it is fantastic. And I think we should get more movies where we explore the backgrounds of the villains, because their stories tend to be a lot more evil, disturbing, and way more interesting, to be honest, than the typical superhero story. And I love so much that they decided to give Joker his own movie. In this movie, another thing that I really love is that you find yourself all the time questioning what is right, what is wrong, you know, is this okay? It's questionable, you know, it's like you don't know anymore what is the right position. And I love how it deals with society and mental illness, and it's putting the viewer in a kind of like a weird position where, you know, certain things are wrong but you still kind of think they're right. I hope I'm explaining myself properly, but I kind of love that moral dilemma that you have in the movie all the time. We're focusing on the story of somebody that's evil and is doing things that you know are wrong, but you cannot help but feel bad for him. You feel sad, you feel sympathy, you want to help him, you want him to survive, you want him to be okay. Even though, you know, the things he might be doing are wrong, but you still cheer for him. The iconic laugh is something that I adore about this movie. It's so unique, it's so special. I love that they tie that up with the mental illness, and that is like this uncontrollable kind of laugh, very uncomfortable for him as well. And it's just fantastic. I love the scenery, the color palette was fantastic, the designs, it was just such a pleasure to watch. It was this kind of like art films that just watching it, it's just pure pleasure for your eyes. It kind of in a way reminds me of things like How to Make a Murderer, because you're putting somebody that does not have to be evil, but society and the way we treat him and the way that we are as individuals are pushing that person to be evil and to commit crimes and to do things that are morally wrong, and he's being pushed by us. So it kind of, you know, puts yourself in a situation where you question why sometimes people do the things they do, and if it's not because we as a society are making that happen. Some people have really complained about the violence, and that the violence in this movie is being portrayed as something that is acceptable. But honestly, there are many movies out there about murders and serial killers and true crime stories and whatever that are way more brutal than this one and way more disturbing than this one. And honestly, this violence is coming from somebody that is not mentally stable, and so the things that he's doing in his head make total sense. If you see any documentary about serial killers or people that have committed really brutal crimes, the way they see things they were doing the right thing and they don't even regret it. They don't feel bad about it because in their heads that's the right thing. And so the character of Arthur Fleck, he's kind of going through this reveal and the things that he's starting to realize make sense for him, and so violence makes sense for him. And you have to see it that way. So I don't think that violence is per se being portrayed as acceptable. People need to look at the bigger picture. I think one of the reasons as well why people think this is too dark and violent is because this is a comic movie, but it's more kind of in the thriller slash drama kind of genre. And people need to remember that just because it's a movie based on a comic, it doesn't have to follow the pattern ABC that we've been getting from the Marvel Universe and all of that, or the last Justice League and Batman vs Superman. That was a crappy movie, honestly. So this one for some people is too challenging. When I heard about this movie, I had mixed feelings about it because I love Jared Leto, but I think his Joker, it was bad. And so I love Joaquin as well, and I was like, oh please no. But honestly, this movie is going to go on my list of best movies of 2019 because it's just a masterpiece. And after you leave the cinema, you're still thinking about it, you're still processing everything you've seen, everything you've heard, and you're just like still in shock at how good Joaquin Phoenix is in that movie. And it's just pure art, and I think it really deserves to get an Oscar. I'm gonna give this movie a 9.5 out of 10, which is a really high rating because I really didn't have much to complain about this movie. I think everybody should watch it. It is amazing, it's incredible, it's magnificent, and it is a great homage to the character. It is a fantastic background story to the character. I love the whole mental illness representation, exploration of the character that it was done in this movie, and I'm just in love with it. So this was my spoiler-free review on the movie Joker. Let me know down below if you have already watched the movie. What did you think about it? Let me know down below. Thanks so much for watching, you guys. As always, please give the video a big thumbs up for support, subscribe to the channel, and also remember to hit the notification bell. I also do have Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. I'm gonna leave the link to those social media in the description box down below, and I hope to see you all in the next coffee time. Bye!